Okay, so before we do today's video, I think it is critical that I show you the bowls that I made because objectively, I think they are pretty awesome. So this is one of them. Nice curvature, swirl pattern on the inside. It's very shiny. I just really like how this bottom pattern turned out. It's like a gradient glazing, which I thought was really cool. So this is like double dipped, but yeah, same with the other bowl. This one, I think compared to this one, has slightly more of a like a rounder bottom, like this edge right here. The swirl didn't turn out as well, unfortunately, because skill issues. But yeah, I think these bowls turned out very well. I'm gonna make more bowls in the future. Yeah, anyways, today I wanted to talk about eternal student syndrome, which is something I read about this morning. I think eternal student syndrome more so focuses on using learning as a way of procrastinating actually doing something new versus learning for fun. And I think those are two very distinct things. Whereas oftentimes it is good to wear, eternal student with a badge of honor because learning for the fun of it is truly just like an enjoyable thing to do, I think. And both you and I think, do this a lot. But I think the difference here is that eternal student syndrome in like the derogative sense is like putting off learning how to make a robot or play guitar by just like watching instructional videos and videos of other people doing it rather than learning those ineffable skills by hand. And I think a lot of like real experience kind of comes down to whether you can tell someone has read about it or actually did like learned it by doing the thing. This is especially true for, I think, especially coming out of school for software, for example. Like you can tell when someone has only read the theory versus actually built something with something. And probably also true for a bunch of other fields like mathematics, engineering, whatever. This kind of came up in the context of musicianship, which I think is partially the reason why I wanted to watch Whiplash today. Is like musicianship is kind of, along with sports, is one of those things where only real way you can learn it is by doing it. Like there's a limit to how much music theory that you can learn and effectively apply without actually just doing the thing. And I think a lot of advice to beginner musicians is effectively like just go practice for a reason, right? And I think theory in music, for example, is not taught until much later in a musician's career than it is, say, in computer science or engineering, right? I think for a lot of these other fields where it's like it begins with theory first and then practice applies after you have enough background theory. But yeah, I don't know. I think part of the reason why Mindstorms, for example, by Seymour Papert resonated so much is it put a very like practice forward and practice first approach to learning more abstract things like computer science. So yeah, I think I'm trying to reconcile this in my head internally as well, just because I think a significant portion of my research last summer on CRDTs was effectively just me reading. I didn't really start implementing and building a lot of it until the end of the summer, but I also didn't feel like that first part of summer of me just reading papers and really understanding the theory and understanding well was wasteful either, because I think it built a really solid foundation for me to work off of in terms of learning the rest of the theory and being able to apply that to a real project. Whereas like a lot of research and theory heavy stuff, in fact, just involves thinking because maybe like the thinking is doing the thing. Whereas like with something like CRDT research is something that is very, very entrenched in theory. Eternal student syndrome might also be good. Yeah, so trying to figure out how to get a grand unifying theory of practice and doing things versus reading and building up foundational knowledge. The reality is probably some T-shaped thing, like most things, where you have enough theory and background to form like a solid foundational base, but enough practice to be spiky in one particular thing or another. Yeah, I feel like none of these insights are particularly new. I just thought that this phrasing of the eternal student syndrome is just like a very apt way of putting a lot of learning as procrastination. So yeah, thought I'd talk about it today. Excited to watch Whiplash. I found out today that there originally was a short film version of Whiplash before they made the movie adaptation. I watched the short film of it and it was really good. So yeah, excited to see how it goes. And yeah, great job on your interview today. It was very epic. So proud of you. All right, I will see you in the next one.